Hey guys, it's Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and I'm here with my weekly wrap up of weeks 2 and 3 in August. So I'm sorry there were no videos over the past week or so. I actually went away on holidays to Tenerife with my friend, and I was just so busy in work and with other things the days leading up to when I flew to Tenerife that I had no time to make videos or upload videos or anything like that. So I'm really sorry about that, and I will try and put up more videos over the weeks anyway. I have a few tags to do still, so I'm really looking forward to them as well. So I will just get on with it and tell you what I read. So just after Booktubeathon, the day Booktubeathon ended, I started reading Bloodfever by Karen Marie Moning. So this is the second book in the Michaela Lane series, which I briefly talked about before, about a girl whose sister is murdered in Dublin. She goes over to Dublin and she finds out that she can see fairies and the fae, and she kind of becomes this person who's trying to kind of fight against all these evil fairies in the world. So this is just the lead on book. I can't say too much because obviously it's not the first book in a series, but I did enjoy it. There is just so much sexual tension in this book that it is just crazy, and it just drives me mad, and I just really hope that something big happens, that it's released in some way. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then on the plane to Tenerife, I quickly finished The Midnight Heir by Cassandra, Clare and Sarah Rees Brennan, which is part of the Magnus Bane Chronicles. I didn't really like this one this much. It was to do with Magnus Bane meeting a character called James, who is actually the son of 2 characters from the Infernal Devices. And I don't know, I just really didn't like it. It was just kind of, it wasn't even a proper story. It was like really short. It was even shorter than all the other ones. So I'm presuming it's leading up to something more, because there's just all these kind of clues about characters, and then nothing came out of it. Then I went on and I read The Fillin Boyfriend by Casie West. So I'm sure a lot of people already know what this is about. This is about a girl called Gia whose boyfriend dumps her right before prom, and her friends have been trying to kind of making hints that they don't believe that her boyfriend has been real because he was from college, so they had never met him before. So she ends up enlisting this random guy in the parking lot of her school, and he's nice enough to pretend to be her boyfriend. So it's just about that. It's a really cute book. I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it enough that I didn't want to just give it 3 stars, but I didn't love it enough to give it 4 stars, so it ended up being a 3.5. I really liked the relationship between Gia and her Fillin boyfriend. I thought that was really sweet. He was a really, really nice guy. We kind of got to know him and his family a little bit more, and they were lovely. I really, really, really hated Gia's friends and family in this. There was someone else that said this before not too long ago, and I can't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. But yeah, her friends are just awful, awful people. I don't understand why she'd want to be friends with them at all. Her family are not nice. Her brother is horrible. Yeah, they just annoyed me so much, and I was really, really frustrated for the whole book because of her friends and family, and they were just terrible people, just really terrible people. So I gave it a 3.5 stars because them being so horrible kind of just took away from my complete enjoyment of the book. But it's a really cute book. It was really great to start off my holiday, nice little contemporary summer read. So I would, if anyone's looking for a light fluffy book, this is it. This is really, really nice. And then after The Fillin Boyfriend, I picked up Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. And I've been really, really looking forward to reading this book, and I'm going to admit I was pretty disappointed in it. I gave it a 3 stars. This is basically about a plane full of teenage beauty contestants. They land on an island and they have to try and survive all on their own. It's more of a satirical, it's written very more like satire, so it's a very satirical read. It's very over the top. All the characters are like way over the top and it's just over dramatization of everything. So it was good, and I could see where Libba Bray was coming from and what she wanted. There was a lot of little hints about, you know, the way girls are expected to behave and how they're expected to look, and very much like society today. And I understood what she was trying to bring across in the book, and it was done quite well. I just do think because of the way the humour was in the book, it got very tiring quite quickly. and then some things just became a little bit like, oh, like a little bit silly and stupid. So I think it would have benefited probably from being 100 to 150 pages shorter, and then I probably would have liked it a little bit more. It just kind of dragged out too long, and I couldn't deal with the way it was written and the humour in it for that long. So it did get a little bit of a drag to it. So that's why I gave it 3 stars in the end. And after that, I picked up Anew by Josie, Litton. This is a book 1 in kind of, I think it's a trilogy, and it is basically like an erotic retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And I did get this as an ARC from NetGalley for an honest review, and I gave it 2 stars, to be honest, 2.5 stars. I think this would have been a 2 if it wasn't the fact that this book is kind of in a very, it's almost dystopian-like, but it's not really dystopian-like, New York. So it's kind of completely different kind of social structure in this book in New York, where, you know, the normal working class people have to look and dress a certain way, and then the richer families can kind of do whatever they want. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. It's basically this girl called Amelia. She wakes up, she has no idea who she is or where she is, and she finds out all these different things about herself, and then she meets this guy called Ian, and obviously it's an erotic retelling, so there's a lot of sex in it, and almost too much. It got a little bit silly, and it was just like the relationship was really, really cringy. I couldn't really deal with it. It just got so over the top, so cringy, and that's why it would have been a 2 star if it wasn't for kind of the background and different things they were leading on. That in probably the other books there'll be more about the actual kind of troubles in the world, and kind of maybe some little rebellions or little things like that. It reminded me a little bit of Humans, which is a TV show that was on recently on, I think it was on AMC, and it was also on Channel 4. It reminded me a little bit of that, so take that as you will, but yeah, so I didn't really like it. I don't think I'll read the other books, so overall that was a 2.5 star for me. And then I finally picked up Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, which is my first ever Morgan Matson book, and I really enjoyed this book. This book was amazing. So this is about a girl called Emily. She's extremely shy, very, very introverted, and her friend Sloane one day just disappears for the summer. She has no idea where she's gone, but all she knows is that Sloane has left her a list of all these different things to do during the summer, which different things like, you know, like kiss a stranger, steal something, go skinny dipping, all these weird kind of crazy kind of different things that she needs to do. So Emily decides to go and try and do these lists, thinking that if she completes the list she can find Sloane and find out where she is. So she starts going on this list, and then she ends up meeting up with different people and kind of making friends and kind of coming out of her shell. And I just really loved it. I loved how it was written. I loved the friendships she made, the love interests in it. It was just such a cute, fun summer read, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm definitely gonna read more of Morgan Matson. I'm gonna try and read them soon. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but I'm definitely gonna read more of her. And this was a 5-star book for me. I just really, really loved every second of it. And then to wind down my holiday, I read Lucy in the Sky by Paige Toon. As if you guys have been following my channel for some time, you know I'm a really big fan of Paige Toon. So this was actually her first ever book, so I haven't read it before, and I didn't actually like this one. I think I gave it 2 stars, but it was just really disappointing. It is about a girl called Lucy. She's going out with this guy for quite a while. She is going to Australia for a friend's wedding, and just before her plane takes off, she gets a text saying, apparently from her boyfriend's phone, and it's some girl saying that she slept with her boyfriend. So obviously Lucy is completely distraught. She's no idea what's happening. She can't ring her boyfriend for another day because she's up in the air. And then eventually she rings him, and he's like, oh no, like it's a joke, it was just one of my friends. So then she's in Australia for 2 weeks, and she still has this thing playing in her head, and then she meets this other guy and she starts having feelings for him. So it was very much Paige Toon. Paige Toon likes her kind of love triangles, or, you know, 1 girl, 2 guys, things like that. But I don't know, this one just didn't work as well for me. I found Lucy very immature. I found her quite silly. I don't think she was very fair to either of the guys at different points for different things. And yeah, I think the end of it was a little bit of a cop-out for what Lucy did what she decided in the end, she kind of got an easy way out of everything else, so I wasn't really happy with that. And then for my very last day of holidays, I managed to read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. This is based about a boy called Simon who is gay, but no one knows he's gay yet. He hasn't come out, and he is emailing some guy called Blue on the internet, and he has no idea who Blue is. All he knows is that Blue goes to his school. So it is just about Simon and his kind of his own coming out story and how he kind of deals with all that, and it's just a really cute book. For some reason I was a little bit disjointed at first when I started reading this. I'm not sure if it was just maybe the way that it was emails, or it was very quickly went into kind of a blackmail story, because this is also where Simon is suddenly being blackmailed about his emails. And it started straight away with blackmail. There was no leading up to it, so I did feel a bit disjointed. It might also have been because I had been reading on my Kindle before this, and suddenly I was picking up a book, so I felt a little bit like off edge. I think because of that, I'm not really sure, but I very quickly got into the swing of it. It was very easy to read. I read it in just a few hours, more or less in one sitting, and yeah, I really liked Simon. He was super cute. I loved kind of trying to guess who Blue was, and I kind of guessed it, and then I kind of went back and I was like, oh no, maybe it's not this person, and then it did end up being that person, so I was really happy. And I'm giving this to my brother to read. I really want my brother to read this because I think he will absolutely adore it. So he's going to start reading it this week, I think, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he thinks about it. So I gave this 4 stars altogether, and I really enjoyed it. And then the last book I read this week, I actually had started reading before I went on holidays, but then I put it down because I didn't want to read it on holidays, and it was Vets Ancol by Cathy Woodman. This is part of a series, but all the books in this series are actually written that they can be read as standalones, so that was handy because I haven't read any of the other books in the series. So it's about a veterinary nurse called Shannon. She lives in like an English countryside village, and a new vet called Ross comes, and she is immediately attracted to him, and they end up becoming friends and then becoming a bit more, and then something terrible happens and Shannon has to kind of redefine how she's living her life, and she goes through a lot of personal issues that she has to conquer again. So this was good. I'm kind of in between a 2.8 stars and a 3 stars. I haven't quite decided. I think I might be more of a 2.85 because I felt like there was just too much, if you know what I mean. There was too much description about everything and too much words in dialogue, too much dialogue. Everything was kind of over explained, and I'm like, it made conversation feel very unnatural in it, and it kind of annoyed me. But it was a nice read, but I did find myself getting bored, and then the whole accident thing only happens like the very end, like maybe like that tiny little bit like is where the actual like accident happens. So there was a really big lead up to it. So I think if it had happened more at the start of the book, or more at the actual middle of the book, and there was more time given to Shannon being able to conquer what had happened to her and kind of come deal with things and in her own way. I think I felt like that bit was quite rushed because there was only a small portion of the book dedicated to it. I think it would have been better if it had been in the first, the middle of the book. I don't know why I'm finding it so hard to say that. So yeah, I gave it a 2.5 stars, and maybe I'll read the next ones. I don't know. Well, really only if I just happen to come across them in the library. I'm not going to go seek them out. But yeah. So let me know what you guys read this week, and I'm really glad to be back and making videos. So yeah, talk to me because I want to talk to you. So I will see you guys again next time. So bye.